So welcome back to the Wheelie Good Podcast. Today we have stage number 9, which was a flat stage, and yesterday we assumed nothing was really going to happen, but boy, were we wrong.
Indeed we were. It's the same as yesterday in that there was a two-man breakaway.
Yeah.
But these two riders are a little bit better. You know, no offence to Mathieu Van Der Poel and Mathieu Van Der Poel.
Yeah.
But these two riders were a little bit more talented. It was Jonas Vingegaard and Mathieu Van Der Poel. It was again two riders from the same team, but it's two bigger riders than yesterday. And they would cause a lot of trouble. First of all, how are they allowed to be let go ahead of the green jersey points being given out at the intermediate sprint?
That is a very good question. Maybe they, does Milan not see him as a threat? Or maybe they just weren't, ready for him to go because it was so unexpected, I guess.
Yeah, there was no reaction at all really from any of the sprinters teams, but most importantly Lidl Trek, who we were expecting really to control it. And that meant that Van Der Poel just rolled over the intermediate sprint line uncontested with Rickaert in second. But the intermediate sprint was again contested, and Tim Merlier was once again worming himself around and getting involved.
You know.
But yeah, I'm still not convinced by the guy's actual thoughts on green jersey.
Me neither, for sure. But Rickaert in the breakaway, by the way, I feel like someone... Oh, wait, that's me. I have him in the fantasy team. Well. I was hoping him to go all the way. I was assuming that, he would drop anyways. But we'll get to that anyways. Yeah, but not only the breakaway, we also had one who had to abandon, which we also talked about yesterday. We did mention that today, or at least before the rest day, would be the day that he might go. Almeida is out the tour. Little salute here for him. I think he did well to survive last stage, honestly. I mean, he even mentioned in the breakaway, in the interview before the stage, that every bump on the road hurt.
Oof.
There are a lot of bumps on a 170 kilometer stage. So
yeah,
as soon as you heard that he was behind the peloton, pretty early on, you're like, yeah, he's not making it past this one.
God forbid this man would have been in the Tour of Britain with the amount of bumps in the road in the UK. That guy riding over 20 potholes a stage is going to be tough. But no, it was a difficult stage to get through today if you're Almeida, because it's 174 kilometers, and although it's pan flat, any riding is going to be difficult.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this. Is this a strategy to perhaps save him for the Vuelta? Because I was thinking, if they're keeping him in this tour until the rest day at least, surely that puts his hopes at getting involved at the Vuelta a España in jeopardy, surely.
True. It definitely is undermined, I think. But even if he wasn't riding the Vuelta, I don't see him going much further than at least the rest day. So.
And he never got there in the end because he had to abandon and got in the team car, and that is the last we will see of João Almeida, who was the only non-finisher of the stage, despite there being multiple little crashes here and there for many riders. And we saw teams that were trying to get an echelon away, and some of them did. Plenty of riders were getting involved, but all of that was to come because the group sprint, which we kind of touched on, was won by Milan, again in the green jersey, again beating Girmay, who made no attempt whatsoever to exit Milan's wheel. So I think what we're seeing is the gradual decline of Biniam Girmay's interest in this competition, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you're him, if I was him, I would feel the same way, because at this point, Milan is just on a different level at this point in time. And he was also asked before the stage about Pogacar being probably his biggest threat in terms of that, and he sort of avoided the question to a degree. So I think he's about done with it at this point.
Yeah, and the two other people that were involved were Tim Merlier in P5 and Turgis in P6. And it is just going to be those four, probably soon to be those three, because I don't see Girmay taking part in these much longer. What's the point really when you can go for a stage win instead, which is going to be far more important than getting fourth in the green jersey classification.
Yeah, exactly. But his stage win, what's the word I'm looking for? Prospect, yes. It's not going too well at the moment.
Yeah, it wasn't a good day for him today, and it wasn't too fantastic the other day for Wout Van Aert either, who got caught behind a brief split. Red Bull and Visma were among the teams trying to pull echelons, and ultimately, despite many teams trying to go on the front, it didn't do much apart from drop O'Connor and Buitrago. And you had the occasional mechanical difficulties for actually Pollitt and Wellens, which was pretty useful, or would have been pretty useful riders for Tadej Pogacar.
Yeah.
In the end, he crossed the line fine. So attention turns back to the front, and the sprint teams are seemingly letting Van Der Poel and Rickaert go. The gap stayed fairly high throughout. And into the final kilometre, they still had around just under a minute. In the final 10 kilometers.
Yeah. I even have like a quote from Benji sent a quote, Benji Nason, by the way, about someone from Little Trek. There's no name who. He said, "I'm currently trying to find us some friends. It's not going well." Well, they were up leading early on during the race, and the Little Trek was the only team really interested in catching Van Der Poel, it seemed. I think that was probably part of why they couldn't do much at the end, because they'd used up pretty much all their strength the entire stage. We still did see him up at the very end, just going at like an all-out effort, but I think that might play into the role of them not being so present at the end. Yeah,
and Rickaert and Van Der Poel kept on pacing together until 6 kilometres to go, when Rickaert did his final turn and went pop, and that was Van Der Poel on his own now against the Peloton, which was vastly thinned because of the echelon pulling, but also vastly thinned because Little Trek were using up their resources. And then we saw Intermarché Wanty come to the front and set their team on the front for all of about 800 metres. Because all of their riders were that cooked that they could not pull Van Der Poel back. So you had this weird scenario then when the likes of Groupama FDJ for Paul Penouet, you had Israel Premier Tech there as well. And these second-tier teams with second-tier sprinters were kind of trying to take the chance to do a lead-out and profit off Lidl and Intermarché using up their resources so early. And I think it led to a much more interesting sprint.
Yeah, we saw Toro going to the front. We saw EF going to the front as well. That was their main sprinter, though, I think. Who went and
they tried an attack. It was quite a clever move, I think, to try and get to Van Der Poel and use him as a bit of a launch pad to launch their own move.
Definitely wasn't a bad idea, but up against,
it was worth a try.
Yeah, up against overwhelming power, sometimes it just doesn't matter.
But in the end, it was Groupama FDJ that controlled it for Paul Penouet, but they used their resources up super early again, and all the sprinters were looking at each other, and it would be a battle of who had the raw pace. And in the end, we saw a proper 1v1, and I'm really glad we saw this, because it is the two best sprinters at the race. Sure. A proper 1v1. Both in the wind, Milan against Merlier. And in the end, Tim Merlier takes the stage win. He got moved up at just the right time by his lead-out man, and it's the first time we've seen him and Bert van Lerberger work together to get to the front, and this is dangerous for the rest of the Tour de France.
It is, man, but Merlier's top speed is just insane. Like, I'm the highest in the peloton for sure. He dusted Milan even pretty easily. It looked closer the first view, but when you see it from the top view, it wasn't that close. There was a good wheel length or so difference. So he's just insane, man.
So Merlier indeed wins the stage ahead of Jonathan Milan in second, and a big day for the fantasy because Arnaud Delis third, Pavel Bittner fourth, baby. It is a lesson to stick with what you've got, in my eyes. And I am chuffed to bits with my fantasy performance today. One thing I did forget to do, however, was change my captain again. So Remco Evenepoel, again the sprinter.
Oh, I mean, he was close.
he was close
to, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. Power bit in fourth. Paul Penaway finishes fifth after the Groupama FDJ lead out with Jermai in sixth, pretty much putting the final nail in the coffin for his green jersey hopes.
Yep.
And all of the GC riders kind of stay together, apart from, of course, Van Der Poel, who would later get dropped and lose a couple more seconds and one position in the GC to Jorgensen. But apart from that, your GC top 10's the same. Pogacar, Evenepoel, Vauquelin, Vingegaard, top four. And your points classification is where the interest will lie on these sprint stages. Because with the victory, Tim Merlier moves himself further up the list. I still don't think he's got any chance. He's 6 points behind Tadej Pogacar now.
Yep.
And it's going to be larger than that at the end of tomorrow's stage.
Yes, and 77 away from Jonathan Milan at the very front. He's running away with it at this point. And I think he's doing what we also mentioned last stage. He's taking as many points as possible so that Tadej at the end can't just be like, that green jersey is looking juicy. He's got to be a good couple points ahead at the end, which I think is... Well, I guess since he's going for the sprint and the stage one, it's bound to happen, but, you know.
Yep, King of the Mountains jersey stays the exact same because there was no King of the Mountains on the route. What an incentive to get into a breakaway. But, looking at it, Milan is certainly putting those points in. And honestly, 227 versus 156 is... quite a good advantage, I think, to have going into the mountains at least. And if he can get himself into some breakaways for the intermediate sprints, I reckon he could actually give this a really good shot at sort of keeping Pogacar away.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have pretty much no doubt in mind he will go into breakaways on at least some of the mountain stages for it. The question is if he can even survive the minute sprints, because sometimes the minute sprints are just at a place where like, why is it there? Why did I put it there? There's going to be no sprinter left, but we'll see, I guess.
And the intermediate sprint for tomorrow's stage, out of interest, is after two in rather large climbs. We'll call them three.
Okay.
The first one is 4.2 kilometers at 6.1%, pretty much straight away. Then there's a 3.9 kilometer, 6.2% climb, which offers no points. I don't know why. Then 2.2 kilometers at 5.7%, and then you're at the intermediate sprint. I don't see Milan making it over any of those, really. I mean, maybe if his little Trek team like really just try and help him out on those flat parts between the climbs, but it's going to be difficult for him. For 20 points, is it worth the energy expenditure? Maybe with the rest day, it could be.
If they try a breakaway very early on and like the main guys in the Peloton don't really pace it down, that's like the only way I see him making it, I think.
But this stage looks quite saucy on Super Saucy. But what do you rate the previous stage out of 10? I think for a sprint stage, for the actual profile, I was expecting it to be super dull.
Yes.
Van Der Poel getting into the breakaway has livened this stage up massively.
Yes, for the actual profile, I would give it like a 9. But for a stage, I mean, I enjoyed watching it, honestly. I think it's the most I've watched an entire sprint stage. So I'm gonna like an 8. Screw it, I'm giving it an 8, just because I like the Van Der Poel intensity.
Yeah, I think for a sprint stage, 8 is the score I would give it. I think in terms of a general Tour de France stage, it's probably getting somewhere closer to a 6.57.
That's very fair.
But yeah, I'll give it an 8 for the purposes of it looked like it was never going to be an interesting stage, but it livened up, and seemingly we got the battle that we really wanted, equal terms between Merlier and Milan, and we finally know who's the better of the two, really. Which leads me on to your fantasy team, because you were thinking of getting rid of Milan. Is this performance the one that pushes you over the edge with Jonathan Milan?
Well, maybe, I'm not sure. The thing is, I want to wait till we get to like a good mountain streak of stages, at least. But I don't know. I might keep him for one more stage just to see what he does next stage. I'm on the edge, though. I'm very much on the edge. But he's giving me good points. I don't know.
I can tell you that he picked up 200 today because I didn't have him as my stage winner bonus, so I don't I don't have him on my double points. So he picked up 200 base, so 370 on the captain.
And
how did your other guys do?
Well, Rickaert pulled in 223 points.
That is huge.
Whew. I'm not saying I chose them on purpose, but I did. Vingo picks up 14. The rest, like a little 6 from Only, 6 from Wright, 1 from Ariel, and the rest 0. So pretty much Milan and Rickaert carrying me today.
So you got a grand total of how many points?
620 points.
Interesting, because despite not having Milan captain, I have run you pretty close today.
Oh,
Remco Evenepoel, for some reason, captaincy bonus has given him 89 points. Even though the actual stage winner bonus thing has given him 7 of those 89.
All right.
Milan gives me 200 base. But the big performers today were Arnaud Delis and Pavel Bittner. 130 points for Delis, 100 points for Bittner. And my secondary riders are beginning to get points as well. Parry-Puncher at 18, Martinez 16, Schoins and Velasco 7. So all of my... I'm not getting any Castrillo 0 pointers anymore. And I feel a lot more confident in my team. As long as I can actually learn to select a captain.
Yes.
Then I will do pretty well. And I think I'm going to go against the grain and go Lenny Martinez tomorrow instead of Remco. And just hope he gets in the breakaway.
Very interesting. You have seen how he's performed so far, right?
I have.
You're a maniac.
I absolutely have. He's finished in the last 3 stages 150th, 147th, and 154th. But I believe.
That's good to have belief, I guess. Sometimes faith is needed.
Clip this up for when Lenny Martinez is not in the breakaway tomorrow. Either way, tomorrow's stage, since we're talking about it, is, would you call it the first proper mountainous stage of this tour?
I like to call it the first proper medium mountain, going with the Tour de France game standard.
It's a total of 166 kilometers. We start in Enezat and we end in Le Mont d'Or, Puy de Sancy, and plenty of climbs. This is a big day for King of the Mountains, which is kind of why I think Martinez will be in the breakaway, because he seems like he's going to go for King of the Mountains jersey. So I am literally, as we are filming this, making Lenny Martinez my captain.
Nice. Do you think this is a stage for the breakaways, though? I feel like we mentioned that in the preview podcast as well, that it might be. Although there's a rest day.
It's so hard to tell, though, but because the GC riders you'd think would have better recovery than the breakaway guys. And we are 10 stages in without a rest day.
Yeah.
It's literally going to be whoever's got anything left in the tank will go into this breakaway. So I'm thinking of guys that haven't attacked yet. People like Nylands, Schoins, etc. And also the King of the Mountains favourites, because the amount of Category 2s on here is quite frankly explicit. You've got, let me just count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Category 2s and 1 Category 3. 7 times 5 is 35. 37 points total for the winner of all of these climbs. Admittedly, one person is not going to win all of them.
So what you're telling me is...
it's a big points haul.
Tim Wellen is going to go on breakaway. Is that what you're telling me?
What I'm telling you is that Tim Wellens is going to be under quite a bit of pressure. I don't think he's got the largest lead in the King of the Mountains jersey on 8 points.
He might be scared of losing his precious jersey. Oh no, what will he do?
Pogacar will close all the moves because he wants Tim Wellens to get the King of the Mountains jersey and sacrifice yellow for it.
I can see it.
But no, I see a King of the Mountains jersey on different shoulders. And our current point scorers are the likes of Michael Storer, who actually might go in the breakaway. Anders Harlan Johannesson as well might be an idea for the breakaway. Michael Woods as well hasn't attacked too often for Israel Premier Tech, so might be waiting for this stage. He's only got 1 point, but he's got a point nonetheless.
Indeed.
And he's got a point to be in the breakaway. How do you see it going?
I could see going with one of the GC guys who isn't too far up, like maybe like Tobias Johannesson, maybe trying. I don't know if he'll be allowed in a breakaway, but trying his little luck and sneaking into a breakaway and getting a little bit of time. Or maybe someone a little bit further down, who knows. But I could see someone trying at least. Will they be allowed though? I don't really know. I'm hoping for a breakaway to go all the way though. I feel like that should make this more interesting. Breakaway battles are great, and I don't feel like. Well, of course, it comes down to it. Tadej will try and do something at the very end, but I don't think he's gonna sacrifice too much here, like attacking on like the penultimate climb. He'll just go up there at the end, just do what he usually does, and just like make sure he's at the front. That's it.
Yeah, the final climb is 3.3 kilometers at 8%, which is, I'd say, certainly more Tadej Pogacar territory than Jonas territory. So I can see it just being down to Jonas trying to mark Pogacar and Pogacar going for the stage win.
Yeah.
My heart says I want it to be a breakaway, but my head just says Pogacar all over for this stage.
Then I'm going to do you one better and say Vingegaard wins the stage, like he did last year in that one sprint. Oh yeah, it's happening.
This is his one moment where he beats Pogacar.
And everyone's like, sprint. "Oh wait, he is back. He's so back." First real mountain stage, loses 10 minutes.
The time trial was nothing but a blip.
Yeah.
But no, we will be podding for that stage as soon as it ends tomorrow, and we are hoping, praying for it to be a banger.
Yes.
This stage actually was a surprise banger, so I will absolutely take that.
Indeed, I think it's the fastest we've ever been to for a podcast after a stage. So for that, leave a like and subscribe, and give us 5 stars. Let's go. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all tomorrow with this mountainous of a stage. Take care.
Nailed the outro.
Yeah.